The attack begins at 0430 hours, July 5th, 1943, Operation Citadel, the German offensive that will become the largest tank battle in history. I am commanding a Tiger tank, 3rd Company, 2nd Battalion, advancing into the Kursk Salient with 200 other Panzers, knowing the Soviets have 5,000 tanks waiting for us, knowing my father is commanding one of them. I see the Soviet positions through my commander's periscope, earthworks, anti-tank ditches, hold-down T-34s waiting in defensive positions, and I'm searching for something specific, something I hope I don't find, but know I will. My gunner reports targets, rangefinder calculating coordinates, loader standing by with 88mm armor-piercing rounds. The radio crackles with company commander ordering advance. All tanks forward, engage enemy armor on contact. Standard orders, standard tactics. Nothing standard about what I'm feeling. My driver shifts gears, the Tiger lurches forward, 56 tons of steel and firepower rolling toward Soviet lines, toward my father's tank, toward a confrontation I've dreaded since this offensive was announced. I know he's here, know it with certainty that defies logic. His last letter, 6 months ago, forwarded through neutral Switzerland before the mail stopped, mentioned assignment to 5th Guards Tank Army, mentioned defensive positions being prepared south of Moscow, mentioned pride in serving the motherland, protecting Soviet soil from fascist invaders. He didn't know his son was one of those invaders. We crossed the start line at 0500 hours, dawn breaking over the steppe, revealing the Soviet positions in morning light. Artillery opens up, both sides, shells screaming overhead, impacting around us. My Tiger shudders from near misses, dirt and debris raining on the hull, but we keep advancing. The distance closes, 3,000 meters, 2,000, effective range for our 88. Soviet tanks start moving, emerging from positions, T-34s and heavier KF-1s, dozens of them, forming defensive line. My gunner calls targets. I designate priority. Leftmost T-34, range 1,800 meters, traverse right, steady, fire when ready. The gun roars, recoil rocking the turret. I watch through the periscope as our round impacts the T-34's turret, penetrates. Secondary explosion as ammunition cooks off. First kill, first blood. Might have been someone's father, someone's son, someone fighting for home and country, just like my father, just like me. The battle intensifies. More Soviet tanks advancing, more German tanks firing. The steppe erupting in explosions and fire. Smoke obscures visibility. I'm tracking targets through gaps in the haze, calling corrections to my gunner, managing the crew, doing my job as tank commander, trying not to think about the fact that every Soviet tank I destroy might contain someone my father knows, might contain my father. We advance another 500 meters, pushing through the first defensive line, Soviet infantry falling back, anti-tank guns being overrun. My Tiger takes 3 hits on the frontal armor, all bounce off, the thick steel doing its job, keeping us alive while we kill others. The radio reports casualties. 2nd Company lost 3 tanks to anti-tank fire. 4th Company engaged by Soviet armor at close range. Request support, I acknowledge. Adjust our course, moving to support. Still searching through the smoke for something I don't want to find. I was born in Russia, 1920, small village outside Moscow, when the country was still reeling from the Great War and revolution was brewing. My father, Dmitri, worked as mechanic, fixing tractors and farm equipment, practical man with practical skills, who believed in building things instead of destroying them. My mother, Anna, was school teacher, educated woman who read literature and poetry, who taught me to think beyond the village boundaries. When the revolution came in 1917, my father initially supported it, believed the Bolsheviks would create better society, more equal, more just. But by 1922, after the Civil War and the chaos and the starvation, my mother had seen enough. She wanted to leave, to take me west, to escape what Russia was becoming. My father refused, said he'd made his choice, would stay loyal to the Soviet state, would help build a new country even if it meant suffering in the process. They argued for months. My childhood memories full of raised voices and tears. My mother begging him to come with us. My father insisting his duty was to stay. In the end, my mother and I left without him. 1922. Refugees fleeing through Poland, eventually reaching Germany, where she had distant relatives. I was 2 years old, barely remember Russia, barely remember my father except through photographs and the letters he sent. We settled in Berlin, my mother working as translator, me growing up speaking German, attending German schools, becoming more German than Russian with each passing year. But my father wrote regularly, letters describing life in the Soviet Union, describing his work as mechanic in the Red Army, describing pride in helping motorize the military. He sent photographs occasionally, formal portraits in uniform, showing him aging while I grew up, showing the distance between us measured in more than just kilometers. My mother kept every letter, saved every photograph, maintaining connection even as the separation stretched from years into decades. I learned about my father through those letters, learned his values and his dreams, learned about the man I might have known if history hadn't split our family. He was proud Soviet, believed in communism, believed the revolution would ultimately succeed. I was becoming German, absorbing the culture and values, eventually believing in National Socialism, because that's what I was taught. That's what surrounded me. By 1938, when I was 18, I joined the Wehrmacht, proud to serve my adopted country, proud to wear the uniform. My mother cried when I enlisted, understood the implications, understood that her son was now soldier for a country that might one day fight her homeland. My father's letters continued. He never mentioned politics directly because of censorship, but I could read between the lines. He knew Germany was rearming, knew war was coming, knew the Soviet Union was preparing to defend itself. He never criticized my choice to serve Germany, never judged me for becoming soldier. He just wrote about his own service, about training tank crews, about the new T-34s being produced, about preparations being made. The last letter I received, December 1940, wished me well, said he hoped we'd meet again someday and under better circumstances. 6 months later, Germany invaded the Soviet Union, Operation Barbarossa, and suddenly my adopted country was at war with my birth country. My father and I enemies. The mail stopped after Barbarossa. No more letters from my father. No more connection across the front lines. I fought through the invasion summer of 1941, advanced deep into Soviet territory, participated in encirclement battles, watched thousands of Soviet soldiers march into captivity, wondered if my father was among them, captured or killed in those early, desperate months when the Red Army nearly collapsed. My mother back in Berlin received no news. Tried writing through Red Cross, through neutral countries, searching for information about her husband fighting on the opposite side. Nothing. Silence. The war creating void where family used to be. I transferred to Panzer forces in 1942, trained on the new Tiger tank, learned to command the most powerful armored vehicle in the German arsenal. 56 tons, 88mm main gun that could destroy any Soviet tank at ranges they couldn't match. Thick armor that made us nearly invulnerable. I was good at it. Tank commander, coordinating crew, reading terrain, making split-second decisions in combat. Advanced through ranks, earned decorations, became veteran of Eastern Front tank warfare. But every time we faced Soviet armor, every time my gunner destroyed a T-34, I thought about my father, wondered if he survived Barbarossa, if he was still fighting, if he was still commanding tanks somewhere on the vast Eastern Front. The other tank commanders didn't know about my background, didn't know I was Russian by birth, didn't know my father was probably fighting against us. I kept it hidden, spoke perfect German, had German papers, was loyal German soldier as far as anyone knew. But inside, I carried the weight of divided loyalty, fighting for country I chose against country I was born in. In spring 1943, our unit received orders for Operation Citadel, the planned offensive against the Kursk Salient. The briefings showed massive Soviet defensive preparations, thousands of tanks, millions of mines, layered positions designed to stop German advance. The intelligence reports mentioned 5th Guards Tank Army, elite Soviet armored formation, positioned in reserve behind the main defensive lines. My father's unit, the one mentioned in his last letter. I knew then, with certainty, that this battle would bring us face to face. The math was simple: German attack into Soviet defenses, inevitable tank-on-tank combat, thousands of vehicles in relatively small area. The odds of encountering specific enemy tank are low, but the odds of encountering father's unit were high, and something in me, call it intuition or fate, knew we would meet. I tried writing him one last time, through Red Cross, through neutral Switzerland. Letter that probably never reached him. Told him I was serving in Wehrmacht. Told him I understood if he hated me for it. Told him I hoped he survived whatever was coming. Told him I loved him, even though we were enemies, even though we might face each other in battle. No response. The mail system broken by war. My words lost in transit or censored or destroyed. So I went to Kursk, July 1943, commanding Tiger tank, knowing my father was somewhere ahead in the Soviet defenses, knowing this battle would test more than just military tactics. The Soviet counterattack comes at 0800 hours. Massive formation of T-34s emerging from the smoke. 40 or 50 tanks advancing in waves, trying to overwhelm us with numbers. My Tiger engages at maximum range, 2,000 meters. Our superior gun giving us advantage. We destroy 3 T-34s in quick succession. My gunner expertly tracking targets. Loader maintaining rapid fire rate. Driver positioning us for optimal angles. But the Soviets keep coming, accepting losses, closing the distance where their guns become effective against our armor. Standard Soviet tactics used numerical superiority to negate German technical advantage. Get close enough that T-34's 76mm can penetrate. I'm tracking multiple targets, prioritizing threats, calling adjustments, managing the battle from commander's position. Then I see it through the smoke. One T-34 hanging back slightly, positioned on small rise for better observation. Command tank. I can tell by the extra antennas, by the tactical positioning, by the way it's directing other tanks through radio. The markings on the turret, barely visible through my periscope, show Guards badge, 5th Guards Tank Army, my father's unit. My heart stops for just a second as I realize this could be him, this tank commander directing the attack I'm defending against. Might be Dmitri, my father, the man who wrote me letters for 20 years, the man I haven't seen since I was 2 years old. My gunner calls it out. Commander tank, range 1500, priority target. He's right. Command tanks are a priority. Killing them, it disrupts coordination, breaks the attack. Standard doctrine, standard tactics. Destroy the leader first. I hesitate for 2 seconds that feel like hours. Finger on the radio trigger, unable to give the order to fire. What if it's him? What if I'm about to kill my own father? What if this moment is what 20 years of separation has led to? My gunner waits, professional, patient, expecting order he knows should come. The loader has AP round ready. The gun is laid on target. We have first shot advantage, but I'm frozen. Commander's periscope locked on that T-34, searching for confirmation, for any sign that would tell me if it's him. Then the Soviet tank's turret traverses, gun swinging toward us. He's seen us. He's engaging. My driver yells warning. My gunner tenses, waiting for my command. My loader braces for recoil. Time slows, compresses, expands. I'm seeing everything with crystal clarity. The way that T-34 moves, the tactical positioning. Something about it feels familiar, even though I've never seen my father command a tank. Maybe I'm imagining it. Maybe desperation is creating patterns that don't exist. Maybe every Soviet command tank looks the same. Or maybe some part of me recognizes him across the battlefield, recognizes the blood connection even through steel and smoke and war. The Soviet gunfires, their round screams past my Tiger, missing by meters. They're ranging on us. Next shot might hit. My gunner's voice breaks through my paralysis. Commander, we need to fire now. He's right. Every second I delay puts my crew at risk, puts my tank at risk, violates every principle of command. I make the choice, the only choice I can make as tank commander, as German officer, as son who chose one country over another. Traverse left 2 degrees, range 1400, fire. My voice is mechanical, professional, betraying nothing of what I'm feeling. The gunner adjusts, the gun steadies. He fires without hesitation. I watch through the periscope as our 88mm round crosses the distance in less than a second, impacts the T-34's turret, penetrates the armor with a shower of sparks. The Soviet tank lurches, stops moving. Smoke starts pouring from the hatches. No secondary explosion, no catastrophic ammunition detonation, Just mobility kill. Crew might survive. Might I force myself to watch? Force myself to witness what I've done? As crew members bail out of the burning tank, 3 men, moving quickly, dropping from hatches, running for cover. The commander emerges last, taller than the others is us, moving with slight limp. Even at this distance, even through smoke and chaos, something about him triggers recognition. The way he moves, the limp from some old injury, the way he pauses to look back at his burning tank before retreating. It's him. I know it. With certainty that defies logic, with knowledge that comes from blood and memory and 20 years of wondering. That's Dmitri, my father, and I just destroyed his tank. My hands are shaking, my breath comes in hab. My vision tunnels despite training and experience and professional calm. I've just shot my father's tank. Maybe killed him. Certainly could have killed him. Separated by chance in centimeters and the thickness of Soviet armor. The battle continues around us. More T-34s pressing the attack. My crew expecting me to keep commanding, to keep fighting. But I'm paralyzed. Watching those 4 Soviet tankers running through the smoke. Watching my father escape from burning tank I destroyed. My gunner calls another target. My loader stands ready. My driver maintains position. They don't know what just happened. Don't know I'm coming apart inside. Don't know their commander just destroyed his own father's tank. I force myself back to the battle. Force the personal aside because that's what command requires. Call target, designate priority, coordinate with other Tigers in the company, professional, mechanical, doing my job while dying inside. We destroy 6 more Soviet tanks over the next hour, push back the counterattack, hold our position. The battlefield stabilizes, temporary lull, both sides regrouping and assessing damage. I use the moment to scan through periscope, searching the area where that T-34 burned. The tank is still there, hulk smoking, abandoned, crew gone, no bodies visible. They made it away, including him. My father survived. I'm certain of it. Survived the round I ordered fired. Survived the war for at least this one more day. The relief is overwhelming, crushing. I'm shaking so hard my gunner notices, asks if I'm okay. I tell him fine, just adrenaline, normal combat reaction. He accepts that because it's normal, because tank combat is terrifying even for veterans. He doesn't know I'm shaking because I nearly killed my father, because I destroyed his tank, because the war just forced me to make choice I've dreaded for 2 years. The radio crackles, company commander ordering advance, exploit Soviet withdrawal, push forward to next objective. Standard orders, standard tactics, nothing standard about what I'm experiencing. I acknowledge relay commands to my crew. My Tiger moves forward with the formation, advancing past destroyed Soviet tanks, including the one I know was my father's. We advance 3 kilometers over the next 2 hours, pushing through Soviet positions, encountering fierce resistance but maintaining momentum. Operation Citadel is progressing. German armor breaking through defensive lines, though at terrible cost. My company lost 2 Tigers to anti-tank fire, other companies reporting similar casualties. The Soviet defenses more formidable than intelligence predicted, but we're advancing, taking ground, fulfilling the operational plan, and I'm functioning on autopilot, commanding my tank, engaging targets, coordinating with the company, doing everything correctly while feeling nothing. The shock of what happened, of shooting my father's tank, has created numbness, protective dissociation, mind separating from action. I've compartmentalized it, locked it away. We'll deal with it later if there is a later. Right now, I'm just tank commander, just German officer, just soldier doing job. At noon, we reach our objective. Low ridge providing good observation. Orders to halt and defend against counterattack. The crew dismounts for quick maintenance, checking track, refueling, redistributing ammunition. I stay in the turret, unwilling to leave, unwilling to be alone with my thoughts outside the structured environment of command. My gunner brings me coffee from the thermos, asks if I want to stretch my legs. I decline. He shrugs, understands. Combat does strange things to people. Everyone processes it differently. I use the break to scan the battlefield behind us with binoculars, surveying the damage, counting destroyed vehicles, both German and Soviet. Dozens of burning tanks, hundreds of craters, smoke obscuring the horizon. The steppe transformed into killing ground. And somewhere back there, my father is walking, carrying whatever personal equipment he salvaged, heading back to Soviet lines. If he survived the dismount, if he wasn't hit by artillery during withdrawal, if he made it to safety, I tell myself he survived. Tell myself I would know somehow if he died. Tell myself blood connection would signal his death. But I don't know, can't know, won't know until war ends and communications resume. If they ever resume, the thought that I might have killed him, that the round I ordered might have penetrated crew compartment instead of just engine, that he might have died in that tank. It's unbearable, unthinkable. I force it away, lock it down, focus on present moment. My loader asks if I want food, offers bread and sausage from our rations. I decline despite not eating since before dawn. Can't eat, stomach twisted, throat tight, body rejecting sustenance, while mind processes trauma. At 1400 hours, the radio crackles with new orders. Reconnaissance reports massive Soviet armor concentration forming to our east. 5th Guards Tank Army deploying for major counterattack. All units to prepare defensive positions. Anti-tank guns forward. Tigers hold down on ridge. Maximum firepower on expected axis of attack. My father's unit, reformed and reinforced, coming back. And I might face him again, might have to shoot at his new tank, might have to make same choice all over again. The afternoon becomes evening, becomes night. We wait in position, tension building, knowing tomorrow will bring decisive battle. The largest tank engagement of the war, maybe 500 Panzers against over 800 Soviet tanks. And somewhere in that Soviet formation, my father is preparing to attack, preparing to try killing German tanks, preparing to possibly face his son again. July 12th, dawn breaks over Prokhorovka, and I see them coming, hundreds of Soviet tanks, advancing in massive waves, T-34s and heavier E-34s, 85s and some KV-85s mixed in. The entire 5th Guards Tank Army committed to stopping German advance. The largest tank battle in history about to unfold. Over 1,200 armored vehicles in relatively small area. Carnage guaranteed. My company commander orders fire at maximum range, 2,000 meters. All Tigers engaging simultaneously. The morning erupts. Dozens of guns firing. Soviet tanks exploding. But they keep coming, accepting losses, closing distance. This is different from previous days. This is desperate attack. Soviet high command throwing everything at us, willing to trade tank for tank, crew for crew, knowing they can replace losses and we cannot. The range closes rapidly, 1,500 meters, 1,000. Soviet guns now effective against our armor. My Tiger takes hit on frontal plate. Round bounces off, but the impact rocks us. Driver struggling to maintain position. Loader cursing as loose equipment falls. I'm designating targets, firing, traversing, firing again. The crew working like machine. 8 years of German military training, creating efficient killing system. We destroy 11 Soviet tanks in 30 minutes. My gunner performing brilliantly. Nearly perfect hit rate. But the Soviets keep coming. For every tank we destroy, 2 more appear. The mathematics of attrition working against us. And I'm searching through smoke, searching among hundreds of Soviet tanks, trying to find that one command tank, trying to find my father, knowing he's here, knowing he's commanding tanks somewhere in this formation, knowing we might engage again. Part of me hopes we don't, hopes he's in different sector, hopes fate doesn't force same choice twice. Part of me wants to see him, wants confirmation he survived, wants one more chance even if that chance is combat. A T-34 appears at close range, 800 meters, flanking position, dangerous angle. My gunner swings the turret. I verify target. We fire. The Soviet tank explodes, ammunition cooking off in massive secondary explosion. No survivors, crew killed instantly, and I don't know if that was him, if I just killed my father for real this time. If the lucky survival 3 days ago was just postponing inevitable, the uncertainty is worse than knowing. The possibility that any Soviet tank I destroy might be his, that I might be killing him over and over without knowing. The battle rages for hours, close-range brutal fighting, tanks ramming each other, infantry assaulting disabled vehicles, complete chaos. My Tiger survives by skill and luck, taking multiple hits but none penetrating, crew performing under incredible stress. We destroy 17 Soviet tanks total, making us one of highest scoring Tigers in the battle. But the cost is terrible. My company started with 14 Tigers. By afternoon we have 7, half our strength gone, killed by Soviet guns and mines and infantry. The battalion as whole is shattered, dozens of Panzers destroyed, hundreds of crew members dead. German offensive broken by Soviet counterattack. At 1600 hours, new orders, all units withdraw. Operation Citadel canceled. Strategic defeat for Germany. We retreat slowly, fighting rearguard, covering the withdrawal, leaving battlefield littered with destroyed vehicles. I see them as we pull back. Hundreds of burned-out tanks, German and Soviet mixed together, unable to tell victor from vanquished in the wreckage. And I'm thinking about my father. wondering if his tank is among the Soviet wrecks, wondering if he survived this massive battle, wondering if I'll ever know. The retreat continues for days. German forces falling back to starting positions. Operation Citadel, a complete failure. We lost over 300 Panzers at Kursk. Irreplaceable losses. Strategic initiative passing to Soviets. My company, what's left of it, pulls back to rest area, exhausted, traumatized, mourning dead comrades. 7 Tigers survived from original 14, meaning 7 tank commanders didn't make it home. 7 crews destroyed. I survived. My crew survived. Our Tiger damaged but repairable, but survival feels hollow, empty. I don't know if I killed my father. Don't know if he survived. Don't know anything except that we fought at Kursk and I destroyed Soviet tanks, including possibly his. The uncertainty gnaws at me. Constant background anxiety. Unable to confirm or deny. Unable to know. My commander notices my deterioration, asks if I need medical leave, if I'm suffering combat fatigue. I tell him no. Tell him I'm fine. Tell him I can continue fighting, but I'm not fine. I'm coming apart. The weight of what happened at Kursk crushing me slowly. At night, I dream about that first T-34, the command tank I destroyed, watching it burn, watching the crew bail out, watching my father escape, or dream about Prokhorovka, about destroying tanks in massive battle, about any of them being his, about killing him without knowing. The dreams wake me screaming. My crew hears me. They're sympathetic but don't understand. Think it's normal combat trauma. They don't know I'm haunted by possibility of patricide, by fact that I might have killed my own father following orders and doing my duty. I try writing my mother, try explaining what happened, but the letter comes out incoherent, mix of German and Russian, unable to articulate the horror. I tear it up, write instead about surviving Kursk, about being safe, about hoping war ends soon. Don't mention the fighting. Don't mention the tanks I destroyed. Certainly don't mention possibly killing her husband. She writes back worried, says she heard Kursk was terrible battle, says she's grateful I survived, says she's heard nothing from Dmitry since war started, says she prays both of us survive, both make it home, both can reconcile after war. I can't tell her that reconciliation might be impossible, that I might have killed what she's praying survives, that our family might already be destroyed. The war continues. I continue fighting. Eastern Front rolling back toward Germany. Soviets advancing. I transfer to Tiger Battalion in Ukraine. Continue commanding tanks. Continue destroying Soviet armor. But every T-34 I face, I see my father's tank. Every Soviet crew I kill, I wonder if somehow it's him. The guilt compounds. The uncertainty metastasizes. I'm slowly losing myself to what happened at Kursk. My crew notices. My commander notices. I'm transferred to training unit in Germany, ostensibly to pass on combat experience to new crews, actually because I'm no longer fit for front line. I accept the transfer grateful to escape the Eastern Front, grateful to stop killing Soviet tankers who might be my father. But the damage is done. The wound opened at Kursk won't heal. I carry it back to Germany, carry it through rest of war, carry it afterward. The war ends in May 1945. Germany defeated. My world collapsed. I'm captured by Americans. Spend 6 months in POW camp. Relatively comfortable captivity compared to Eastern Front. During processing, they discover my background. Russian émigré who served in Wehrmacht, fought at Kursk and other battles, killed Soviet soldiers. The political officer asks if I want to return to Soviet Union, repatriate to my birth country. I tell him no, absolutely not. The Soviets would execute me as traitor. Fighting for Germany against motherland is death sentence. He understands, arranges for me to remain in American zone, eventually released back to Germany, free but stateless, caught between countries. My mother survived the war in Berlin, found her in British sector, aged beyond her years, haunted by losses. She asks immediately about Dmitri, about my father, if I heard anything, if I know his fate. I tell her a partial truth, tell her I was at Kursk, tell her 5th Guards Tank Army was there, tell her I don't know if he survived. Don't tell her I destroyed Soviet tanks. Don't tell her one of them might have been his. Don't tell her I possibly killed her husband. Can't bear to say it. Can't bear to see her face if she knew. Can't bear the accusation even if she never voices it. We try reaching him through Red Cross, through official channels, searching Soviet records for Dmitri, for any information. Nothing. Silence. Either he died and wasn't recorded, or survived and wants no contact, or Soviet authorities blocking communications with traitor's family. Years pass. 1946, 47, 48, no word. My mother grows thinner, more fragile. Hope dying slowly as silence continues. I work reconstruction, helping rebuild Germany, practical skills from military service translating to civilian engineering. But I'm hollow, functioning but empty, going through motions of life without really living. The uncertainty about my father, about whether I killed him, about what happened at Kursk, it eats at me constantly. 1952, 7 years after war ended, letter arrives from Soviet Union. My hands shake opening it, afraid of what it might say, afraid of confirmation or denial. It's from Dmitri, my father, alive. He survived Kursk, survived the war, serving in occupation forces in East Germany until 1949, then returned to Soviet Union. The letter is formal, distant, but it's contact. It's confirmation he lives. He doesn't mention Kursk directly, censorship probably, but he says he commanded tanks in great battle, says his tank was destroyed but crew survived, says he was proud to defend motherland. He doesn't know his son was there, was fighting against him, possibly destroyed his tank. And I realize I can never tell him, can never admit I was German tank commander at Kursk, can never confess I might have killed him, can never burden him with that knowledge. So I write back, careful letter, mentioning I survived the war, mentioning I'm in Germany, not mentioning service or combat or Kursk, maintaining fiction of separation, maintaining lie of distance, protecting him from truth that would destroy him. The correspondence continues sporadically, letters taking months, always formal, always careful, never discussing the war directly. He never asks what I did during the war, I never volunteer. We maintain unspoken agreement not to examine too closely. My mother dies in 1958, never knowing the full truth, never knowing her son and husband fought at Kursk, never knowing I might have killed him. She's buried in Berlin, her grave a memorial to family torn apart by history, by revolution and war and ideology. I invite Dmitry to funeral. He can't come. Soviet authorities denying travel permission. But he sends letter expressing grief and love, tells me he loved her until the end, regrets the separation, wishes things had been different. I wish things had been different too. Wish we'd stayed in Russia. Wish I'd never served Germany. Wish I'd never been at Kursk. But wishing doesn't change history, doesn't undo what happened, doesn't resolve the uncertainty I carry. The Berlin Wall goes up in 1961, cutting Germany in half, making contact with Soviet Union even more difficult. Letters become rare, heavily censored. The Cold War creating new barriers between us. I marry in 1963, German woman who knows I'm Russian émigré, but doesn't know the details. Doesn't know about Kursk. We have 2 children, boy and girl. I try to be present father despite the ghosts I carry, but the weight never leaves. The uncertainty about Kursk, about whether I killed my father, it shadows everything. I tell my children about their grandfather in Soviet Union, tell them about revolution and separation. Don't tell them about war and combat and possible patricide. Let them have simple story of family divided by politics, not complicated truth of family destroying itself through war. 1973, I received telegram. Dmitry died. Heart attack. 63 years old. I fly to Moscow for funeral. Soviet authorities grant visa because he was war hero. Guards tank army veteran. Defender of Kursk. The funeral is military ceremony. Honor guard. Medals displayed. Speeches about his service to motherland. I stand among strangers, Soviet officers and veterans, none knowing I'm his son, none knowing I fought against them at Kursk. They tell stories about him, about his courage at Kursk, about how his tank was destroyed on July 5th, but he rallied his crew, continued fighting, helped stop German offensive. July 5th, the day I destroyed that command tank, the day I shot my father's tank in without knowing. The confirmation hits me like physical blow. It was him. I did destroy his tank. I nearly killed him. He never knew, died without knowing. The mercy of ignorance, protecting him from truth, they would have destroyed our relationship. After ceremony, veteran approaches me, asks how I knew Dmitry. I tell him I'm his son, emigrated as child, lost contact during war. The veteran looks at me strangely, asks where I was during war. I deflect, say Germany, don't elaborate. He doesn't push, but his eyes show suspicion. He knows or guesses that I served Wehrmacht, that I fought against them. But he says nothing, respects that some truths are better left unspoken, that war creates situations too complicated for judgment. I returned to Germany after funeral, carrying knowledge I'd suspected for 30 years, carrying confirmation that destroys and validates simultaneously. I destroyed his tank, but didn't kill him. The round penetrated wrong place. Or he was lucky, or fate intervened. He survived, fought rest of war, lived another 28 years, died peacefully. The relief is overwhelming, crushing. I didn't kill them. The nightmare scenario I've feared since Kursk didn't happen. But I came close. Millimeters and chance separated me from patricide, from unforgivable sin that can never be undone. I tell my wife, finally, tell her everything about Kursk and the tanks and the uncertainty and the confirmation. She holds me while I cry. First time I've cried since war. First time I've let myself feel the full weight of what happened. She asks if I regret serving Germany, if I regret fighting at Kursk, if I regret the choices I made. I don't know how to answer. The question is too complex, too layered with history and circumstance and impossible situations. I didn't choose to be Russian émigré, didn't choose revolution that split my family, didn't choose to grow up German, but I did choose to serve, did choose to fight, did choose to advance into Kursk knowing my father was there. Could I have refused? Could I have deserted? Could I have found a way to avoid that battle? Maybe, probably not. Definitely not without consequences that might have been worse. War creates impossible situations, forces impossible choices, makes you do things that peacetime morality condemns. I destroyed my father's tank following orders, doing my duty as tank commander, protecting my crew and accomplishing mission. Was that right? Was that forgivable? Can son who shot at father ever be reconciled even in death? I don't know. I've spent 50 years not knowing. I'll die not knowing. But I know I loved him. Know he loved me. Know the war created situation neither of us chose. The 1980s bring change. Soviet Union beginning to open. Gorbachev's reforms making contact easier. I visit Moscow again. 1987. Find my father's grave. Spend hours there talking to him. Tell him everything. Everything I never said in life. Everything the letters couldn't contain. Tell him I was at Kursk. Tell him I destroyed Soviet tanks. Tell him one was his. Tell him I'm sorry. Tell him I didn't know, didn't recognize him until too late, didn't have choice. Tell him I've carried the guilt for 44 years, carried the uncertainty, carried the fear. Tell him I love him, loved him always. Wish things had been different. The grave doesn't answer. Stone can't offer absolution. But speaking the truth helps. Saying it aloud makes it real. I leave flowers, red roses, traditional Russian funeral flowers, and walk away carrying slightly less weight. Not forgiveness, not resolution, but acknowledgement. Speaking truth finally releases some of the poison. My wife says I'm different after Moscow, lighter somehow. The burden shared makes it bearable. I'm 94 years old now. My father has been dead 42 years. Kursk was 72 years ago, but I remember every detail, every moment, every decision that led to me destroying his tank. I'm the last witness to that particular tragedy, last person who knows the full story. When I die, the secret dies with me. My children know basic outline. Know I fought at Kursk. Know their grandfather fought there too. Know we were on opposite sides. But they don't know the details. Don't know I destroyed his tank. Don't know how close I came to killing him. I'll never tell them. Some truths are too heavy for children to carry. too complex to explain. Let them remember their grandfather as Soviet hero who defended Kursk. Let them remember me as German veteran who survived war. Don't need them to know the terrible intersection of those two stories. Kursk was largest tank battle in history. Over 1,200 armored vehicles, thousands of crew members, 3,000 tanks destroyed. My father and I were just two among thousands, just two tankers in massive battle. But for us, it was personal. It was family. It was impossible situation created by revolution and emigration and war. I think about alternate histories. What if we'd stayed in Russia together? What if revolution never happened? What if I'd refused to serve Germany? But alternate histories are fantasy. Reality is I served Wehrmacht, fought at Kursk, destroyed Soviet tanks including my father's. Reality is I'm war criminal by Soviet definition, traitor to my birth country, enemy of the people. But also reality is I was 2 years old when I left Russia, raised German, had no connection to Soviet Union except blood and birth. The question of loyalty, of identity, of what country I owe allegiance to, it's been unanswerable for 90 years. I'm Russian by birth, German by upbringing, European by geography, stateless by circumstance. I belong nowhere completely, accepted nowhere fully, always outsider in every country. Kursk epitomized that. Son fighting father, German uniform attacking Russian tank, impossible choice between blood and country. I've made peace with it as much as anyone can make peace with unresolvable paradox. I did what I thought I was right at the time, followed training and duty and loyalty to crew, made best choice available in impossible situation. My father did same, defended his country, fought for cause he believed in, did his duty as Soviet officer. We were both soldiers, both following orders, both trapped in historical forces beyond our control. The fact that we survived, both lived past war, both had years after, that's mercy, that's grace. That's more than millions of others got. I'm grateful for that. Grateful he lived. Grateful I didn't kill him even though I came so close. This is my confession, 72 years after Kursk, about fighting my father in the largest tank battle in history, about destroying his tank, about carrying that weight forever. The war split families, created impossible situations, forced sons to fight fathers, brothers to kill brothers, countries to destroy themselves. Kursk was just one battle in that larger tragedy. My father and I just two more victims of history's machinery. But we survived, both of us, and that has to mean something. That has to be enough. I'm old now. He's been gone decades. But I carry him with me still, carry Kursk, carry the weight of what happened that July in 1943. When I die, the story dies, the secret dies, and maybe that's appropriate. Some truths don't need to be preserved. Some memories are too painful to pass on. Some burdens should end with the people who carried them. This is mine. This is his. This is ours. The story of father and son fighting at Kursk on opposite sides.